reaching the World Series last year. How much did that drive you this offseason?
It did so much, to be honest. I feel like it's just going to show that we're a really good team and that we can play deep in the playoff. And I feel like that's the expectation for this year.
I'm sweating. I'm wearing a suit. It's hot. I hate it. What about you? What do you think?
I mean, I like it. I come from the Dominican Republic. You know, it's an island kind of type of weather, tropical weather, and this feels just like it. So when you get hot like that, you're ready to go all the time.
All right, Kevin, back to you.
Buster, it is a 94-degree day right now here in Baltimore, and 94 could feel like quite a bit more than that. Julio batting second in that Mariners starting lineup, which is brought to you by Alexa Plus. 6 left-handed bats for Seattle, 36 and 33. The Mariners, as you heard Kevin Connors say, 2 games up on Texas in the American League West. Big series for Josh Naylor, had a grand slam in a Game 1 win. Randy Arozarena, playing like an all-star, had the game-winning home run in the 10th in Game 2. And good news for the Mariners, their 20-year-old star shortstop Colt Emerson returns after missing the last 3 days due to a spout of back spasms. He will bat 9th. Mariners have been hot of late, 11-4 in the last 15, tied for the best record in baseball. Mentioned the starting pitching off the top, the best ERA in the majors in that 15-game span, 3.10. But this team can bang Ross 27 home runs in those last 15 as well.
Well, then that's how they win. They've got some tools, especially with Cal Raleigh out. They're still living and dying by the long ball. They've got talent up and down this lineup, and it's really fun to watch them to get on the big stage last year, have some success, and now kind of hitting their stride here after May.
Orioles take the field with Pete Alonso at the same first base position. He's played nearly every game for Baltimore this year. He started 5 at DH, the other 64 at first. And the Orioles starting pitcher tonight is Kyle Bradish. Last 2 seasons truncated because of Tommy John surgery in 2024. A 3.89 ERA, but Otto in the last 5 games a 1.72, starting to look more like the pitcher he was in 2023.
Yeah, and really when you look at the Orioles staff, this is the one guy that the ceiling is super high, super top notch. He has incredible chase rate on his breaking pitches. He's got 2 different fastballs, the 4-seam and the sinker. They're both elite. And he knows how to compete. He's a guy who hunts those strikeouts. He can smell the blood in the water once he gets to 2 strikes, and he looks to put guys away really quickly. So let's see at the start he gets off to tonight. The one weakness so far is he hasn't been getting ahead in the count very well and throwing that strike one. So that's what we're looking for here early in the game.
And the lowest first pitch strike rate in Major League Baseball among qualified starters at the other. And Brian Wu, the highest first pitch strike rate among qualified starters in all of the major leagues. Orioles 32 and 37. Played well of late. They had lost 4 straight coming into yesterday, but still a good stretch over the last 3 weeks for Craig Albernaz. Maybe the most highly regarded managerial prospect in baseball this offseason, had been the bench coach and last year the associate manager for Stephen Vogt in Cleveland. Was hired by the Orioles after Brandon Hyde was fired during his 7th season last year. And Dan Wilson took over late in the season in 24, his 2nd full year as Mariners manager, taking his team to within a few innings of the World Series in that crushing Game 7 loss to Toronto. But it was a magical ride for last year's Mariners, who are looking to go back-to-back as American League West champions in 2026. Cole Young is going to kickstart this game. Game 70 of 162 for both teams, and Julio Rodriguez's presence looming next to the on-deck circle. Plate umpire Emil Jimenez has the mask on, and we are ready for baseball in Baltimore under that brand new glistening scoreboard in right center field this year. The 22-year-old Young against 29-year-old Bradish. And away we go. Downtown Baltimore, the first pitch strike at 96, 7-12. Our first pitch tonight, again, a 94-degree game time temperature. Mariners lineup bookended by the 22-year-old Young at second and the 20-year-old Colt Emerson at short. As Young chases and misses that curveball, and right out of the gate, Otto, you talked about the spins we'll see from Kyle Bradish.
Yeah, he has 2 great breaking balls. He has just a knack for spinning the ball, the slider and the curveball. He's actually leaned on the curveball quite a bit more. In May, he had 5 of his top 10 all-time usage rate on curveball games. in his career. So we'll look for that pitch to be a big part of it.
Young slams one to deep right field. That ball will hit off the very top of the wall. The second base umpire and crew chief Doug Eddings has ruled it went over the wall for a home run. An 0-2 curveball from Bradish, and the Mariner leadoff man Young smashes it just to the left of that high wall and right. His 5th home run, and a brilliant start for Seattle in the finale.
We were just talking about the good breaking ball that he has. It got the swing and miss. You see here just a hanger. There's the good one, down and in off that fastball, and then the one that just doesn't seem to get all the way down there, right into the barrel for the home run.
Yeah, it's a classic pitching mistake. You always want to work from most hittable to least hittable throughout an at-bat, and that one he went the wrong direction. He threw the really good curveball for the swing and miss, and then this one doesn't get it low enough, and Cole Young takes advantage.
It's like my golf game. I try to hit one better than just hitting it down the middle. You know, we try to make that pitch even better. That's what happens.
Now the good news for Bradish is throwing strikes all 5. The bad news is one of those strikes ends up just over the wall, a little padding area there. That is a home run, and it's a Mariner team that gets a higher percentage of runs via the home run than any other team in baseball. Julio Rodriguez, who's got 13 of them now, and Julio slams an 0-2 out of play. Mentioned some of the accolades up top for Rodriguez, who has been an all-star 3 of his first 4 years. MVP finishes of 7th, 4th, and 6th. Rookie of the Year and a couple of Silver Sluggers as well. Curveball badly spiked by Bradish, and it's the first ball he's thrown in the game.
There's the old over adjustment. You know, he didn't want to hang another one. Ends up throwing a long dart. We've all done it, but that just shows you the head's in the right place. He's already looking to make one-pitch adjustments.
It's the first home run he's allowed on the curveball all season, Kyle Bradish, and the first career leadoff shot for 22-year-old Cole Young. Another 1-2 poked into center by Rodriguez. Chased a slider and knocked it up the middle for a base hit. So a couple of productive chases early on breaking balls for Seattle, and Rodriguez has a single.
Looks like they're keyed in on some of the off-speed stuff. We're picking it up after a little bit of some pitches they've been able to see. You see here, just a slider, kind of flat, not a whole lot of depth to it. Julio does a really nice job of just staying up the middle and getting a base hit out of that. Tough pitch to hit, tough pitch to drive. Easy base hit for Julio Rodriguez.
Always a threat to steal at first over there with Pete Alonso. Strike 1 right to the inside corner, 97 to Josh Naylor. A couple of guys who have gone head-to-head in the home run derby in the past. Julio knocked out Pete, who was a defending champ in Seattle a few years ago. Been a hot month for Josh Naylor after a very slow start to the year. And Naylor, who falls behind 0-2, had a grand slam that was the game-winning hit ultimately in Game 1. Re-signed to a 5-year, $92.5 million deal this offseason after the Mariners traded for him from Arizona for their postseason push midway through last year. The Seattle team only 20th in the majors in runs scored per game, but trending up. And they've had to deal with some critical injuries. Obviously, Cal Raleigh, a very slow start on the IL right now with an oblique issue. Brendan Donovan, their starting third baseman, has missed a lot of time with a couple of groin strains. They feel like the pieces are in place once again to this for this to be a top 10 offense.
We're talking to Julio today on the field. There's so much baseball left, and he was talking about the great May he had, but a long way to go. And you talk about this offense just getting going, and hopefully Cal Raleigh coming back here real soon, them hitting their stride and hopefully building on what they were able to accomplish last year.
Off a 99-mile-an-hour fastball from Bradish. Backs it up with 98 wide for ball 2. Ross, when you look at this Mariners team, where are they strong? Where can they get stronger? Maybe either through players returning or maybe at the deadline, which they did so well last year.
Yeah, well, I think you know, we talked about, they've got the 6-man rotations. You got your short one guy in the bullpen, which it'd be nice to have more pieces down there. You can always, you ask any manager, the more studs you've got down there in the bullpen, it helps. But just the depth in the lineup, these young guys, giving them the opportunity, sliding Cal Raleigh back into this lineup is going to be really deep. I don't know that it's offense per se, probably more of just back end of the bullpen stuff and staying healthy.
Taylor's gone from 0-2 to full and grounds a 3-2 up the middle. Gunnar Henderson's there on to second and completes a double play. Some pristine velocity for Bradish, whose average fastball's about 3 miles an hour lower than this, and he gets a double play out of it. 0-2 to full.
Really nice job there. It feels like he wanted to finish Naylor hard after giving up the 2 base hits on the off speed, making a quick adjustment here early in the game and trying to just pound the strike zone with that good heater he's got today.
Here's Randy Arozarena with 2 down. Hear the grunt for Bradish. 97 on that first pitch to Arozarena.
Yeah, he's coming out with some angry fastballs today. I got to wonder if he was a little ticked off from his last outing. Gave up a few more runs than he wanted to. He came out today looking to prove a point in the first.
4 innings, 9 hits, 5 earned in that last outing in Toronto Saturday. 98 for a strike. His average fastball this season, and it's ticked up a little of late, but 94.5.
ESPN shows up, everything starts ticking up a little bit.
And you look up, you see David Ross, Adam Ottavino. That's 3-4 miles per hour.
Right? That's what I think. Yeah.
Big rip by Arozarena, who's had a great series, always seems to, against the Orioles. 6 for 13, a home run and 4 knocked in this series. Career against the O's, 17 homers and 927 OPS in 66 games. Breaking ball. Ball skids so far away from Samuel Basayo, it ends up at the Mariners dugout. No swing, according to the first base umpire Gabe Morales.
That's 2 0-2 pitches that have gotten by him. Probably a little bit of rust, not being able to block these balls. Had a couple days off from behind the plate here, and these are sharp breaking balls, but probably want to get that glove turned over just a little bit and use that chest protector if you can.
You said angry fastballs out. Are these angry breaking balls too?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, nobody likes to get clipped for a home run, first batter of the game. I don't know, interesting so far. He's had 2 strikes on all 4 of these guys. So far, he hasn't been able to find strike 3. It's usually not an issue for Kyle, but has been so far here.
On 2-2. Gets a swing and a miss, a 2-seamer, nasty at 98. But the 3rd pitch of the game gives the Mariners the early lead. The first leadoff home run for 22-year-old Cole Young. We'll see if Taylor Ward, Gunnar Henderson, and Adley Rutschman have an answer for Baltimore. The very present Taylor Ward leads off the Oriole lineup. He's been their leadoff hitter just about every game this season. Adley Rutschman missed the last 3 games due to left hamstring tightness. He's in there as the DH. Samuel Basayo did not start any of the last 3 games. Banged up as well. He's behind the plate for the O's, 8th in baseball at 4.7 runs per game. Brian Wu in the friendly confines of T-Mobile Park has been magnificent this year. 2.37 ERA, the whip .71. On the road struggling, 1-4 with a 5.08. All adds up to a 3.74 ERA for the Mariners starter as he begins the game with a first pitch swing fouled away from Taylor Ward. Ward has come to the Orioles this year in a trade for Grayson Rodriguez with the Angels. He has gotten on base and gotten on base and gotten on base some more, among the major league leaders with 60 walks. The power is down with only 3 home runs. Big reason why the O's are 6th in walk rate in the majors, or 12th in home runs per game in what's been a largely successful offensive year. And Wu's 0-2 zips up and away. I mentioned this off the top, Adam, but Brian Wu, you will see strikes, strikes, and more strikes. How does he like to attack hitters?
He loves to use his fastball. In a game now where spin has really taken over and fastballs are sometimes secondary pitches in guys' arsenals, he zagged from that. He's 2 fastball shapes, 4-seam from a really low slot that plays very flat at the top of the zone. That's what you're going to see, a lot of high 4-seamers. And then he'll run a sinker in on you as well.
That's that sweeper backing up for the ump cam, worn by Emil Jimenez tonight. Ward, Henderson, and Rutschman, the Oriole top 3 today, with Pete Alonso batting 4th. And a 1-2 pitch, a nasty 2-seamer running in on Ward for strike 3.
Taylor Ward does not see him well. That's 0 for 14 with 6 punchies. This is absolutely nasty. You see here, here's that 2-seamer sinking, just chasing him in under the barrel. Really good depth there, Otto, from Wu, just coming in, just can't seem to pull those hands in for Taylor Ward.
Yeah, and even though he throws a lot of fastballs, he'll mix them up. The 4-seam and the sinker, he'll mix up sides of the plate, you know, and that at-bat, away, 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 in for the finish.
I feel like that's something in our game that's gotten a lot better of, like, 2 different fastballs is 2 different pitches, and you know, in my day, we would stick with whatever your best one was. When you have the sinker and the 4 and given those 2 different looks, it's such a different pitch, and hitters have to take different swings at them. I feel like it's been really effective, and guys are dominating now with a lot of just hard stuff.
4-seamer to Gunnar Henderson, skied to left, and Arozarena will make the play inside the foul line. Henderson 2 for 12, 4 walks in this series, 2 quick outs for Wu.
Brossie, a guy is a great example of what you're talking about is Cam Slittler of the Yankees. 90%, 3 different fastballs, 4-seamer, sinker, cutter, dominating.
Absolutely.
Seems to be the trend we've seen the last few years in baseball. The cut fastball for a lot of pitchers as well. You have 2 or 3 different fastball shapes. The return to a degree of the 2-sinker after the game had gotten very elevated 4-seamer happy, and there is an elevated 4-seamer and a strike over to Adley Rutschman. Good news for Oriole fans. Rutschman back in the lineup. Had been day-to-day with left hamstring tightness, something he tweaked over the weekend in Toronto. Adley's having a fantastic year for the O's. Rutschman rips through a heater at 97 from Wu, so extra velo on a hot night for both pitchers in the first inning.
I mean, not hard to get loose on a night like tonight. I could probably give you a 93 from up here tonight, and I haven't been throwing, so yeah, +2 velo, I'd say right now.
What'd you hit for Team Italy this March?
I was lucky to hit 91 one time. It hurt a lot.
Inside 96, and the thing is, you mentioned the delivery out. It seems like such a casual 96 from Brian Wu.
Yeah, I mean, in the old days, they would call this the easy cheese, you know, like the old slow arm fast fastball. Not easy to do. Most guys need to rip it and kind of grunt behind it. Not the case for Brian.
2-2 for Rutschman from Wu. Rutschman 343 on base, slugging .489. Best he's looked for the Orioles in a couple of years, trying to be an all-star for a 3rd time. And trying to get Pete Alonso a first inning chance. He will strike out. 97 just off the corner. A couple of strikeouts for Brian Wu, who zips right through the top 3 of the Oriole card. Baseball from San Francisco on ABC and ESPN. The Cubs and the Giants, and that swing yesterday finished off as improbable a comeback as you'll see all year. Rookie Bryce Eldridge with a walk-off grand slam to beat the Nationals. Our friend and statistician Sarah Langs calls this a whee. Nats were up 8 in the 8th, 9-1, and the Giants came back to win it. Eldridge, Sarah tells us, the youngest player with a walk-off grand slam in Major League history. Previous youngest guy by the name of Roberto Clemente. 1-0 Seattle lead here in the second. See if this game gets into 8-run comeback territory. Bradish 93 on that first fastball to Luke Raley. Threw a 99-mile-per-hour pitch to nailer in the first inning that was the fastest of his career. So down about 5-6 miles per hour on his first pitch here in the second.
99.1, fastest of the career, huh? You know he wants that other .9 really badly.
What's the hardest you've thrown?
99.6. That's why I know, you know. It's not legit. You can't round up unless when you're going for that triple digits.
One and two for the slugging Luke Raley. And down he goes swinging. 95, but well placed for Bradish for a strikeout to begin the inning. Well, the Eldridge grand slam, you'd think that was the biggest comeback of the night in sports, down 8 in the 8th. Of course it was not, as eagle-eyed viewers saw OG Anunoby with a tip-in heard round the world for the Knicks. And yeah, Sarah said, we call this a we in baseball. That was the Spurs-Knicks win expectancy chart in a game that San Antonio led by 27. So if you're a sports fan yesterday, you get a 9-1 comeback in the 8th in San Francisco. And then you get the largest comeback in the history of the NBA Finals. Some eagle-eyed viewers, including some interested parties here in the Baltimore area, as the Knicks went up 3-1 in the NBA Finals.
And that would be Pete Alonso, of course, former New Yorker, who was telling me before the game that, yeah, when he was in the lunchroom after the game last night, he saw how far down the Knicks were. He goes like, oh, well. And then he went home, like the rest of us, turned on the second half, and he couldn't believe it. He said it was insane to see the Knicks win that game, and he said that it was like the hand of God came down and touched OG on that last play.
I can only imagine, Buster, and I can only imagine, as I'm sure the gentleman in this booth can, what it could have been like to be at Madison Square Garden last night.
Those are the things dreams are made of right there. Being a fan, being a player, and those moments, comebacks in the finals, people rocking, going crazy. That's the stuff you live for.
I think if you had a chance to go, and just as a hypothetical, Adam Ottavino, if you had a chance to go to that game and didn't, it might be something you'd regret, I don't know, for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit of that today. I am. I could have went. It's true. Passed on it.
You would have been actually the third Heim sister with Taylor Swift sitting courtside, I believe.
Yeah, they were wearing my shirt. I don't know if you saw.
But, you had the Stevie Nicks pun originally trademarked. 3-2 for Dom Canzone here. Knicks and the Spurs game 5 with a chance to close it out for New York on Saturday in San Antonio on ABC. And then you have baseball Sunday on ABC with the aforementioned Giants and the Cubs. It's another monster sports weekend here in mid-June. 3-2 for Canzone from Bradish. That's a swing and a miss. 97 back-to-back strikeouts in the second as we send it to Kevin Connors. Rays Dodgers will have Monday night on ESPN, Kev, as the great Ohtani continues to do things otherworldly. Managing against Shohei Ohtani, did you enjoy that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're all good when you get down there on the field, and sure, like, you know, he's one of the best in the game, but he wasn't pitching when I was managing, so I think it was all right. You know, Freddie Freeman's right behind him, Mookie Betts is next to him. You know, that guy's an absolute stud, but he's surrounded by great players.
Listen to the competitor in Rossi. You know, there are a lot of good players on the field.
No, he's great. He's great. I just mean when you're managing, you don't look at anybody really as much as like, okay, I just don't want this guy to beat me in a big situation. But they've got a ton of them over there in LA.
Dodgers 43-25 off to another terrific start. Not the best record in baseball right now. Atlanta 45-23. And then the Brewers hot on the Dodgers' heels, 41-25, leading the Central, the 3 division leaders in the National League right now, which looks a lot stronger than the AL. The Mariners wanted just 5 American League teams with a winning record early in the year. 1-2 from Bradish to Miles Mastrobuoni, and that's a nice bounce back second inning for Kyle Bradish. 3 strikeouts in the second, 4 straight Ks going back to the first. We'll see Pete Alonso lead off in the bottom of the second after Bradish strikes out the side of Seattle Mariners in the top half. You're watching ESPN Baseball, presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Game 4 of 4 between the Mariners and the Orioles on a Thursday night in Baltimore. And here is Pete Alonso, starting for the 70th consecutive game to begin his Baltimore Orioles career. And goes after the first pitch from Brian Wu, down to third and Miles Mastroboni. 1 pitch and 1 out for Wu. Alonso had the go-ahead home run for the Orioles yesterday. Leads the team with 14 and 42 RBIs. He's retired quickly here, but Otto, you played with Pete in New York, and I want to get your thoughts on what kind of a leader you think he'll be, what kind of a Baltimore Oriole you think he'll be after signing that big free agent deal.
I think he was a perfect fit over here, to be honest. I know he's always going to embrace whatever situation he's in, full stop. You know, he did that in New York all those years. When that ended, I knew he was going to dive right into the Baltimore situation, and he has. Perfect guy to be around, one of the most genuine teammates you'll ever have, and just a guy who never really has a bad day. Always has a smile on his face and brings that positivity to the ballpark.
It's fun to listen to Craig Albertaz, his manager, talk about the intangibles he's brought from day one, signing, texting all the guys, getting the guys together, starting to have conversations in the dugout. When you sign the big boys to the contract, obviously you want them to put up the numbers, but when you get those extra intangibles, those are the things that make the real difference, and I think he's bringing a lot of that experience here.
Fouled away by Samuel Basallo here. Mastroboni went a long way and almost flagged it down. It's 2-1 to the Oriole young catcher. First start of the year at third for Mastroboni, who just came off the IL yesterday.
I managed Miles in Chicago. This guy is a player you fall in love with. Gritty guy, willing to put his body on the line and just out of his reach here down that third base line. That's a tough one. Wu giving him an extra minute to get set out there.
So 2-1 for Basallo, and Samuel takes his time. Had not started the last 3 days at catcher, was removed from Sunday's game, has been dealing with some wrist discomfort, some abdominal discomfort of late. Craig Albertaz, the Orioles' first-year managers, been talking of late about how Basallo needs to learn his body at a young age, essentially learn how to play through pain and learn how to play with pain when appropriate. So Sam Huff caught the last 3 games for Baltimore. Basallo came off the bench as a pinch hitter and did catch the last couple innings of the game Monday and Tuesday night. But we talked to Craig Albertaz, said he's had great conversations with Basallo over the last few days. His level of engagement during the game when he's not playing has been outstanding. And he thinks the world of this kid. It's pretty clear. Made note of the fact he's 21. He's catching an entire big league staff. He's bilingual at such a young age. The Orioles signed him to an 8-year extension last year, and they pair him and Adley Rutschman. What could be the best catching combination in the big leagues this year.
Oh, they're definitely putting up the numbers from behind the plate and at DH to be in that category. Nasty pitch.
Slider for Wu. He struck out 3 of the first 5.
That down and in auto from the righty to the lefty. You don't know whether that two-seamer's going to come back or that slider's just going to disappear down in and in. And you got to be ready, and their nasty pitch just under that hole with that left-handed hitter.
Yeah, and it's a nice short break, so it holds that line as if it's a fastball for quite a while, and the hitter doesn't even know they're swinging at a slider until it's too late.
How'd you like to catch a guy like this?
Man, just being able, those guys that will pound the opposite-sided hitter in with multiple pitches is just a fun action for catchers. I miss that cat and mouse game.
Why is that a fun action for you specifically?
It's coming in like the down and away and the stuff to chase, but you get real action. You start getting close to hitters. That's when the action happens. That's where the danger comes in. If you leak something over middle or hit a guy, there's a fine line, but guys that are comfortable pitching in, I think, have the biggest margin for success. if they've got the kind of stuff Wu does.
It goes in right there. Just as you're talking about, a pitch that may have just clipped the edge of the zone.
So now so much is open, right? You've got to kind of look in there. You just saw the back foot slider that holds that line you're talking about, Otto, and he can tunnel it off that in there, or he's got multiple pitches, the breaking ball down in or something away.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And when you can speed a hitter up, you know, with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball in, all of a sudden now their timing's out of whack. If they want to meet that pitch and beat it to the spot, they have to get started a little earlier. Their swing decisions become worse, and it plays into the pitcher's hand.
Changeup wasted to Taveras, 2-2. Goes up with a fastball into center field for Julio Rodriguez. Game we thought would be a pitcher's duel started with a leadoff home run, but Wu and Bradish have faced the minimum since. The MLB app has you covered all season long. Get personalized highlights and push notifications just for you. Download the MLB app, the #1 app for live baseball. Saw some of the legendary faces and profiles at Legends Park here at Camden Yards. Hall of Famers Jim Palmer, Cal Ripken Jr. among the players whose numbers are retired here. Frank Robinson, Brooks Robinson, Eddie Murray, and Earl Weaver. 6 men honored with statues here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Those World Series winners 3 times, the last behind Cal and Jim in 1983. 3 years ago, the American League East champions in the postseason in 24. A disappointing year last year, a ton of injuries. Manager Brandon Hyde let go in May, and the O's hoping to bounce back this year. Only 32-37. The good news for them and basically everybody else in the American League is the AL is really down right now. And I know it's early to be saying wild card, but they're only 2.5 out of the 3rd wild card. It feels like pretty much everybody is still within reach in the American League.
I was talking to Gunnar before the game and just feeling him out, and he was talking about it's really shocking that they're in it right now with nobody's really gotten going. He feels like he's just starting to get going. Some of these guys are just starting to kind of hit their stride and feel good, and there's a lot of baseball left, but he made that same point. It's like a lot of baseball left, and the fact that we're still hanging in there is a credit to our pitching staff and how well some guys have pitched.
Mariners, you saw the last of the 5 teams above 500, only 36-33, but the only team with a winning record in the AL West. Johnny Pareda catching today, dribbles 1 foul, 2-2 against Kyle Bradish. These teams will meet next week in Seattle, and by that time the Mariners hope they will have Cal Raleigh back. Raleigh, who had the historic 60 home run season a year ago, is off to a very slow start, is coming back right now from an oblique issue, and they hope he'll be available off the IL when the Orioles and Mariners kick off a series next Tuesday in Seattle. But Pareda and Mitch Garver played pretty well in his absence. As Pareda takes ball 3 from Bradish to run the count full. Four straight strikeouts for Kyle Bradish into the 3rd. 6 swings and misses in the last 15 pitches he'd thrown coming into this inning. And Pareda hooks one right over the bag. A 3rd, Kobe Mayo with a strong throw to retire him. Well, the Mariners MVP and nearly the American League MVP in a close vote last year was Cal Raleigh. Here's what he did: 60 homer season a year ago. Slow World Baseball Classic, obviously a small sample size and a very slow start to the year. 161 in 41 games. He is looking good on his rehab assignment. What do you make of this? Just a guy who had a long season, catching every game, going deep into the postseason, a slow start. Anything you read into that, Rossi? Somebody who was a catcher a long time? Yeah,
well, I never played every day, but it definitely takes a toll on your body. As in 1 year, I caught over 100 games with the Reds, and I mean, this guy's in there every single day, and he's one of the middle order bats. So he's a guy that's got to take care of himself, likes to be in there. Got to interact with him a lot during the WBC, and he wants to be that guy. He wants to be in there, impacting the game, and he understands how important he is to that lineup. and sometimes it's just off to a slow start. I definitely have had these seasons where I went into the offseason coming off a good year for me, I guess, and you feel like you got to figure it out a little bit, and maybe, you know, just kind of relax a little bit, and then the game bites you a little bit. But he looked good in his rehab. I watched some highlights. He's hitting some home runs, and I know the Mariners are looking forward to getting him back. A good season for me is like 250 with a couple tanks, just so you know.
Yeah, guys, one thing that's going to be interesting is Cal Raleigh comes back. Of course, he played, as Rossi knows, in the WBC. And you talk to players coming out of that, and they felt like that while they loved the experience, the amount of preparation they had wasn't quite the same in terms of the volume. Well, he's had that as he's coming back through his rehab. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets off to a better start as he comes off the injured list.
That is strike 3, caught the inside corner to the rookie Colt Emerson. A perfect two-seamer for Bradish at 97. He's now struck out 5 of the last 6.
Yeah, and he's found a really good feel for his sinker here early in the game. This is a perfect pitch. You know, a little front door, move the hip, bring the ball back over the plate action. Oh, no better feeling as a pitcher than that right there.
It's my favorite one to call as a catcher, that front hip. David Weathers had, you knew it was coming. Oh, David Weathers would throw that 2-strike front hip. So nasty. It's hard for him to pull the trigger as hitters. They just see it as a ball out of the hand.
It's the same sided sinker we've seen in a lot of ways decrease the last couple of years, right? Righties on righties. You'll see those lefties on lefties. You don't see as many right to left sinkers, but when it's right, and you guys can attest this as well as anybody, it still has as much power, I'd imagine, as any pitch in baseball.
Well, it's dangerous too, right? If you miss over middle, that's maybe homer ball if it doesn't start on the right lane. What side of the rubber were you on, Otto?
I moved around in my career, but I settled on the first base side, and largely in an effort to be able to make that pitch, to be able to create a little easier angle for me to start that ball at a lefty and run it back over the plate. Because it's a little bit of a cheat code, and in today's world where the hitters are trying so hard not to chase, you do have some opportunity for some freeze there.
Yeah.
Cole Young drops a 2-out sinker into right. Young, who had a leadoff homer, now has 2 of the Mariners' 3 hits, and he snaps a streak of 7 straight retired by Bradish.
Just a nice stand up. When you're feeling good and you go deep, everything's a bonus after your first at bat and the home run in the books. Just staying up the middle, the two-seamer runs right down and in. Young's really liked those 2 balls down so far tonight.
Young had been just 2 for 27 career against the Orioles. And 2 for 2 this evening as Julio Rodriguez looks at ball 1. 3 Seattle hits. Young has 2, Rodriguez the other. With a sharp single in the first inning. 2 for 13 with a walk in this series for Julio Rodriguez, who's had as good a first half as we've ever seen in his 5 big league years. Typically a slow starter who's been one of the best second half hitters in baseball in his young career. Scary thought if he can still be that guy in the second half. 13 home runs already, his most before the All-Star break, 16. He's just 3 shy of that in 22 fewer games.
When you got a guy that has a track record of getting better throughout the season, and he has a May like Julio had, 10 home runs, feeling it a lot earlier than normal, you expect big things in the second half.
Swing and a miss. Bradish gets him fishing at the slider. It's 2-2.
You know you got nasty stuff when you have one of the best hitters take a swing like that, and when he's locked in, that's a legit breaking ball.
See if he goes back to it here. Julio looked frustrated with himself that he chased that pitch.
Fastball instead. Where do you go after that sequence, Otto?
I like the backdoor sinker attempt there. Based off the body language of Julio, probably not going to chase it twice. Try to freeze him. He missed it there. Now I probably go back to it. I go back to a breaking ball away. I know he's got a hit on it before, but Keep him out of the pull side in the air if you can.
I always like there's a a base open here, really good power bat. You got to pretend this guy's going to be on second base. I'd like going 3-2 off speed with runner in motion. Seems to be an action pitch for a lot of people.
Yeah, believe it or not, 3-2 is one of the highest chase counts there is. So a lot of times a pitcher will try to take advantage of that here.
This 3-2 was not chased. Ooh. Inside with a curveball. Nice take by Rodriguez. And the Mariners have 2 2-out base runners for Josh Naylor.
This did not miss by much. Just backs up a little bit on him right there at the end. So he just doesn't quite come back. Nice take. Good work back there by Sammy.
If you guys are reading body language as you would on the mound or behind the plate, good take or pitch that was so nasty it froze it?
That last one right there, I think he was looking outer third and the ball surprised him inner third and he kind of gave up on it and got a little lucky that it wasn't a strike. But you still give him credit for not just flailing, try to, emergency hack, which you see sometimes.
Definitely looking out over. I thought he was like just anything in you're going to give up. Nobody comes in 3-2 rarely.
No.
Josh Naylor on an 0-1 pitch, sprayed to second. Jackson Holliday, who will bat for the Orioles in the bottom of the third, ends the top of the inning. A well-pitched game by Kyle Bradish. Brian Wu perfect through 2.
Mariners manager Dan Wilson. Julio Rodriguez off to the best start in his career. What's been different?
Yeah, they're just really swinging the bat well. He's seeing it well. He's using the whole field. I think that's a big key for him. And I tell you what, he has swung the bat well to all fields, and he's got power everywhere. So I tell you what, every time it comes off his barrel, it's usually 100 plus, 105 plus. He can sting it.
Some ugly swings against Brian Wu in the first 2 innings. What are you seeing in him tonight?
Yeah, a good fastball going right now, no question about it. And he'll mix in that slider, sweeper, his change as well. But that fastball kind of sets the tone.
Dan, thanks. Thank you. Kevin, back to you.
Buster, it's a fastball that has a run value of +10. Four-seamer for Brian Wu. Last year was tied with Drew Asmussen, the best run value on fastballs in baseball. Run value measuring the impact of a pitch, whether it's a ball, strike, count leverage, put in play, etc. He's throwing it well tonight. It's Colt Kauser. Fouls one away. Got another fastball at 95. 12-pitch, 8-strike first inning for Wu. 12-pitch, 8-strike second inning for Wu. Efficient start.
Consistency.
American League's 5th place Cy Young finisher a year ago. This is inside to Colton Kauser. Toby Mayo, Jackson Holliday to follow. 3 of the Orioles' former top prospects at the bottom of this lineup. Mariners starters in the series have been good. Emerson Hancock, Logan Gilbert each allowed 1 run. George Kirby got tagged for all 3 runs in the 6th inning yesterday, but struck out 10. The 5th best starting rotation by ERA in the majors this year. 354 as a staff, 365 the starting pitchers, and the highest first pitch strike rate of any team in baseball. That ball blistered to the opposite field by Colton Kauser, and it will go out toward the bullpen. Kauser continues his resurgent season over the last month, and the first Oriole to reach ties the score with an opposite field home run.
You gotta love the approach from Kauser here. You know you're getting fastballs. So he goes ahead and cheats to a fastball, but doesn't try to pull an outside pitch. Understands that he has power to all fields, and left center is a great place to hit a ball here in Camden. And from the pitch quality aspect, it's the same fastball, but the height wasn't there. He didn't get the ball up enough, and something Kauser could handle, and he certainly put the barrel right on that thing.
416 feet for Kauser, whose first 6 home runs this year had traveled an average distance of 418. That's the longest average home run distance in the majors. Jacoby Mayo goes the other way, which he very rarely does, and hits a rocket to Raley and right as we go back to the home run.
You could really notice in the pitch sequencing where the four-seamers were pulled in, and like you said, just nice and calm, smooth. Inside that, he knows he got it. Look at that. Just all timed up. Had seen 4 fastballs previously, and that's juice to left center right there.
First hit of the series for the former 5th overall pick Cowser. Now the former number 1 overall pick Jackson Holliday. Speaks to the level of talent on this field that we've basically gone 3 innings without mentioning the guy who was the number 1 pick 4 years ago and is the son of Matt Holliday. Jackson sprays the ball in the left field, and that will drop in for the Orioles' second hit. Adam, the son of one of your former teammates in Matt Holliday, so somebody you saw running around big league clubhouses at a young age?
Yeah, I played with his old man at 2 different stops, once in St. Louis and then at the very tail end of Matt's career in Colorado. So I've seen a lot of Ethan and Jackson, the 2 Holliday boys, and yeah, you could tell from a pretty young age that they were going to be in the big leagues. So a little surreal to have faced Jackson as well as Shaq BP in the outfield with him as a 6-year-old. So baseball comes at you quick.
That means that you were around for a while, though.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's a testament to you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just trying to make you not feel too old.
Appreciate that.
Taylor Ward's second at bat of the game. And Ward will take it inside. Holliday had a grand slam yesterday as the Orioles got their first win of the series, 7-2. Seattle took the first 2 games 6-3 and then 6-5 and 10.
3rd grand slam, right? Youngest Oriole.
Yeah.
Next to Brian Roberts.
Slams. Ward into center field for a base hit. The O's are 3 for 4 in this inning as we go to the studio and Kevin Connors. Kev, thank you. A much needed win for the Mets. 8 under 500. Still trying to find firm footing early in the season. Here's Gunnar Henderson, who blasts the first pitch out of play. You mentioned a little bit of a flatter fastball, Adam. Brian Wu has than batters might expect. The Orioles have been more on his fastball this 3rd inning. Is something different?
I don't think anything's different. He has, you know, at times not gotten the ball to the top of the zone when he's going 4-seam. But I think it's a good approach switch by Baltimore. To date, he's only thrown 5, I guess 6 now non-fastballs. So if you know you're getting a fastball, you might as well look for the fastball and get it going early. And that's what we saw even there with that foul ball from Gunnar. Very indicative of the approach right now.
Another fastball is way high, and it's 2-1 to Henderson.
It also feels like they're not trying to do too much with the fastball. Sometimes when you know you're getting hard all the time, you try to do a little bit more. We've seen some jam shots there from Holliday, balls up the middle, the Oppo homer. You're able to just stay inside it and keep your approach rather than trying to do too much with 97.
I mean, I think Albert has talked about it as a point of emphasis for the team, using the whole field, and sure enough, it shows up in this inning. A bunch of opposite field balls in play.
Back-to-back heaters are well out of the zone. It's 3-1 to Gunnar Henderson, who crushed 4-seamers a year ago and has really struggled this year in a season where his timing has just not quite been consistently right. A lot of pull side power early, lost a little bit of that over the past month. Swings through a heater here at 97 for strike 2.
I mean, that just got to a perfect location. That's a tough pitch to hit, even on a challenge 3-1 count. Perfect up and away. But now he's got to try to repeat it. See if he can.
Trying to do so, Brian Wu, in his first 3-ball count of the night. On 3 3-2. Popped out of play. 99. Right to the inside edge.
Believe it or not, he overthrew that pitch a little bit. He wanted it up and away, kind of pulled it down in. I know it's 99, but this is not exactly where he wanted this pitch, and he actually gets away with it a little bit.
Up and away again, but 2 up. And Henderson draws a walk, his 5th of the series. So the Orioles load the bases with 1 out for Adley Rutschman. Adley back in the lineup today after missing the last 3 games. Had a great start to the season at the plate. Great start behind it as well. And there's some of your conversation that you, David Ross, had with Adley before the game.
What did you identify going into the offseason of the change that you want to make that's really impacted this year so far?
Yeah, so for me, I feel like just simplifying things a little bit. I got into the toe tap last year and then kind of went back to just more of a traditional load for me, more of a similar load to the one I was doing the first 2 years. And it's the part about hitting. You kind of go into the off season and you try and just get that little extra, that 1-2% better.
It's working.
It's worked, yeah. It definitely does. That toe tap is hard. I mean, I played with one of the best to do it, Chipper Jones, but you know, I play with a lot of players that have the toe tap, or try the toe tap, I should say, and it's a difficult thing to stay consistent with all the different deliveries that you have throughout the league in the windup and the stretch.
Rutschman just 1 for 6 with the bases loaded this year. The one a grand slam, and he got 97 right down the heart of the plate and can only foul it back.
Adam, I see what you're talking about, though. His misses have been to the pull side, to these lefties in. When he's kind of overthrown or just not in sync, it just seems to be that ball that he pulls into these lefties.
Down and in against a strike with a changeup. It's 0-2.
That was sort of a happy accident there. Another one he meant to, I think, go away with. Ends up pulling it into the glove side. And four-seam pitchers know, you know, guys with great four-seamers, they understand that the one that they get in trouble with is the one that they pull a little bit. It doesn't have the same life to it, and guys can meet it, you know, as it crosses the zone.
0-2 pitch. Spiked it through the legs of Pareda. Here comes Holiday, and the Orioles take the lead on a wild one from Wu. Ward took 3rd, Henderson 2nd. A slider, and not of those thrown today by Brian Wu, and Johnny Pareda couldn't keep it in front of him.
Trying to throw that backdoor slide, or that back foot slider we talked about, just pulls it out of the chute. Johnny not being able to get that right hand tucked in there, just squeaks through the side and through the legs of the umpire for a run. That stinks as a catcher when you're back there and that gets through.
Rutschman knocks the next pitch into right field. A fair ball on the line, and that will bring in 2 more. Adley Rutschman, after missing 3 days, back in the lineup with a vengeance. Doubles in a pair, and it's a 4-run Oriole 3rd.
Stayed on the fastball. Didn't execute that breaking ball. Went right back to the one pitch he's in the zone with, and Adley was waiting for it.
Yeah, really impressive at bat right here. Just really calm, sees that ball get up, and you said it exactly. Staying on the heater, knows that's his bread and butter, and just a really calm swing there for a 2 RBI double from Rutschman.
He's driven in 38 in 49 games this year, Rutschman. And now Pete Alonso. First pitch swinging, and first pitch destruction. To a place where baseballs simply do not go.
Man, you talk about an offensive explosion for the Orioles in this inning. They've had some really quality at-bats. Wu's had to work awfully hard. Tries to get ahead here. And Pete does not allow it. Pete just says, all right, you're going to come over the plate. I'm going to be ready. And that's what Pete does.
It feels so dangerous when the other team has got the offensive momentum going. Just anything they throw over, everybody's ready to hit and locked in. as you see Pete Alonso there, ready to go first pitch.
Samuel Basayo on the first pitch to deep left field. There's a lot of room out there, and Arozarena backpedals into it. A 439-foot behemoth of a shot from Pete Alonso, though. Sounded and looked good.
Slider right down the middle, almost just like a baby cutter, just sideways, just a barrel finder. Listen.
Wow. That is ASMR nightmare fuel for pitchers, that sound. A first pitch swing for Taveras as well. And Rodriguez will track this down. The uber aggressive Orioles. 6 up, 6 down in the first 2 innings. 6 runs across against Brian Wu in the third. All started with a Colton Cowser homer, ended with a Pete Alonso home run. Brian Wu, field of the pain. Orioles, field of the joy, field of the hose.
Better than ever, better than ever, better than ever. Everybody from the front to the back.
With Orioles manager Craig Albertnez, man, those first 2 innings, Brian Wu was dominating. That inning, 6 runs. What was the adjustment you saw?
Yeah, I think the guys just saw him once. Like, he's so good. You know, he has that carry on his heater, and he gets it to the top, and he gets it down, and he has the breaking balls and the changeup as well. So our guys just did a good job of, when they got pitches out over, to put good swings on it.
For Pete, that's his 12th home run since April 28th. What kind of impact has he had in your clubhouse?
Yeah, immediate impact. Like, he's such a great teammate, hard worker, and just wants to win, his ultimate competitor. And the way he navigates the clubhouse with his conversations, it's been awesome to watch.
Great, thanks. Kevin, back to you.
Buster, thank you. Our thanks to both managers, Dan Wilson and Craig Albertnez, for speaking tonight.
Oh, no.
I'll be able to do an interview every night if he can do it after a 6-run inning, a career high against Brian Wu. 6 runs allowed an inning. That's what these Orioles can be offensively.
Yeah, they're deep. There's power throughout, some speed in there.
Oh.
I just really like the way that the at-bat, you touched on it, Otto, the at-bat that Gunnar had, grinding, fouling off some pitches, taking that close up and away just to turn it over to the next guy. Albertnez had talked about that's how they set up their videos, showing what sets up the big inning. That's definitely going to be on there in their tape.
Strike to Arozarena, right at the top of the zone, 3-2.
It did really feel like there was a collective adjustment there after those first 2 innings. You know, this guy's in the strike zone, he's throwing a lot of fastballs. Let's get on him, let's pressure him, let's meet him. Let's meet that aggression with aggression, and it really paid off.
Another big inning for the Orioles in this series. And Bradish trying to follow it with a shutdown inning. Walks Arozarena, the second walk for Seattle in the game. Orioles only scored in 2 innings last night, a 3-run 6th, a 4-run 7th, and they have a 6-run 3rd to take an early lead tonight in search of a series split. But Randy Arozarena is the second leadoff man to reach for Seattle, and that brings up Luke Raley. Well, big stolen base threat, Arozarena, who is not a fast runner, but has 18 steals, 3rd in the league. In fact, the Mariners, the second slowest team in baseball, yet they're tied for 10th in steals.
Dan Wilson talked about Josh Naylor a little bit earlier, how smart of a baseball player and good base runner, and him being able to steal bags for them. I don't know right now, down 6, it's always a tough one. You don't want to make any outs on the bases right now if you're the Seattle Mariners.
Jose, Randy, and Bobby names in bright lights. 25 extra base hits, 15 steals this year.
It's one of those things that'll drive you crazy as a manager and a catcher, and I'm sure as a pitcher you're trying your best, but getting 6 on the board early on and coming out and walking the leadoff hitter and trying to really find your rhythm again and falling behind, you really want to pound the zone in these moments if you're the starting pitcher.
Up sent a curveball strike to Raley, who struck out swinging in the second.
Would you do that? Flip a slider in, find your release point, Otto?
Yeah, I feel like every pitcher has like a reset pitch. You know, for me, it's definitely the breaking ball, and it's good to see Basayo go to that with Bradish right there. I think that's very wise.
Follows it up with another breaking ball in the air to right from Raley toward the flat court and gone. Luke Raley right to the top of the high wall in right field, hits a 2-run homer, and Seattle has an immediate answer back. Number 14 on the season for Raley, and it's 6-3.
Yeah, well, it's all related, you know. Leadoff walk, coming out here looking for that shutdown inning, then falling behind Raley, giving him a good look at that breaking ball. So then when he gets to see it again, he still can put his A swing on it. So it's really all connected. It's not so much about this pitch as it is about the pitches prior. But credit to Raley for seeing it well and driving it out of the ballpark. Ball's flying tonight.
Ball is flying.
Which was not the case at the start of this series. Some cooler nights in the 70s, but 94, heat, humidity, and homers. Only 347 for Raley, but got it to that short porch and right, and he holds the Mariners' home run trident.
This is the Camden Yards I remember as a player. And then I tried to avoid anything in the air when I was on that mound. But yeah, this has always been a good place to hit.
Dominic Canzone slams one out of play. Would you pitch differently here, given the way it plays, especially in the summer months?
I can't say much differently, but I definitely wanted as little contact as possible, if that makes sense.
Well, the Mariners have 2 home runs, the Orioles 2 as well. And after Samuel Basayo came out to talk to Bradish, a 1-1 count on Canzone. Remember, the Mariners a higher percentage of runs via the home run than any other team in baseball. They're 9th in home runs per game. They've hit 89 overall now. And Canzone has got really good power. Is down 1-2 after that good curveball.
Well, this is where the lineup gets deep to me with Raley. Really, you know, his slug has been off the charts this year, and then Canzone, you got some guys at the top of that order going to get on base. They've got power, but these guys are going to put up a crooked number.
Canzone golfs one to deep right field, and the Mariners go back to back. Raley and Canzone, both from the left side, both assaulting Bradish breaking balls. And Seattle, after giving up 6, has scored 3 without an out here in the 4th.
It's like there's not as sharp bite on that breaking ball as early on. Not being able to locate the fastball, fall into your comfort zone of spinning the ball over middle there. Very nice piece of hitting there by Canzone. Just stays through it. Look at him. He's out in front. I mean, that's just staying through the baseball in hands. Not as bad as pitch as I thought when we slow it down. Just a really nice job of hitting.
6 feet 190, but among the league leaders in barrel rate. Here's a belly flop by Alonso. His throw a little behind Bradish, but a fine play by Pete. And Miles Mastrobuoni retired as Bradish finally gets the first out in the inning. The much improved defender this season, Pete Alonso, who's been, statistically speaking, one of the best first basemen in the field in baseball this year.
When talking to Craig, he's really put in the work on defense. He's out there early, showed up with pitchers and catchers to spring training, working on his defense. Really embraced a leadership role, and he's showing it with his work ethic and his performance.
Strike to Johnny Pareda after Bradish gets the first out of the inning. Last 2 seasons, Pete and Alonso, according to Baseball Savant StatCast metrics, -9 and outs above average. That measures your range. He's +3 this year, and he'll feed Bradish for another out right here. Back-to-back 3-1 groundouts after a 3-run start to the inning for Seattle. A lot of credit to Miguel Cairo, the Orioles' new infield coach, who was interim manager for the Nationals last season after Davey Martinez was fired. He's talked about being a little bit more athletic and reacting similar to a player ready to receive a serve in tennis, wanting to be a little bit more flexible in a little bit of a lower position at first. Man, you played with him. Somebody who can pick at first with the best of them, Pete Alonso, right?
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable. Scooper actually historically really good going to his left towards the line as well. But man, I really have to say it's awesome to watch his hard work paying off at the position. He's been putting in work behind the scenes for so long. He's always had that inner belief that he could get there, and you know, there's nothing better than watching a teammate that works really hard finally see his hard work pay off a little bit out there.
Well said. I still like to see him hit homers, though. That's my favorite skill set.
You're getting the best of both worlds.
No doubt.
Tonight.
No doubt.
Longest home run by any Oriole this season, 439 in that third inning. 2-0 on the rookie Colt Emerson, 20-year-old. The Mariners signed to an 8-year extension before he played a single game of big league baseball this year. Opportunity for a 9th year with a club option. They think he is a future star on the infield. He's playing shortstop with J.P. Crawford on the IL.
Rossi, you turned down that 8-year deal when you were AAA?
I have a rule. I don't turn down too much money, buddy. Not as a backup.
Yeah, me neither.
No way. They're passing them out here lately. I mean, these guys, some real young talent that's kind of influx in our game. It's fun to watch, and they're getting paid for it, getting rewarded.
The guy standing at the plate and the guy crouched behind it. Emerson and Basayo, both 8-year extensions in the past calendar year.
I was a king of 2-year deals. I ran my welcome dry after about 1.5 years. You know, they were ready to get rid of me.
If you could sign only a 1.5-year deal, it would have been perfect.
Clubhouse cancer.
Yeah,
by the end of
club
2
option
years.
for July, you know. 3-2 for Emerson here. A walk and a couple of homers puts Seattle right back in the game. And Bradish will walk the 9-hitter Emerson. That brings Cole Young to the plate as a tying run.
Food in the oven but don't want to miss a pitch? Just tell Siri, set a timer for 10 minutes.
Here's the Oriole pitching coach Drew French. The first time in Kyle Bradish's career he's allowed 3 home runs in a game. And the first time this season the Mariners have had back-to-back home runs in an inning. 81st start for Bradish, who has been in his big league time one of the best pitchers at limiting home runs in the big leagues. But here's the way it started. Cole Young, the 3rd pitch of the game, got an 0-2 breaking ball and opened the scoring for Seattle.
It's been incredible to watch today. It's just every ball in the air seems like it's got a chance, and these batters are meeting aggression with aggression. So I honestly don't even think it's that much on the pitchers. I mean, I know that they've surfing them up, but you got to give credit to these hitters.
Speaking of aggression, another first pitch hit. 104 into right field for Young. He's 3 for 3. And the Mariners, who were down 5 runs coming into this inning, will bring Julio Rodriguez up as a go-ahead run. He's going to start some stirring in that Birds bullpen as Rodriguez looks to add to his perfect night at the plate. Rico Garcia, who has been the Orioles' typical closer with Ryan Helsley on the IL, is warming up here in the 4th. Well, that tells you what Greg Albertaz thinks of this game. He's Garcia typically in the 8th and the 9th and around there this year. He's been there stopper at big moments, getting loose in the 4th inning. And Rodriguez off the end of the bat drops one into right field for a hit. Here comes Emerson to score and make it 6-5. Julio Rodriguez aboard for a third consecutive time, and the Mariners have a 4-run fourth.
Otto, I don't know if you had this happen to you too many times, but when it rains, it pours, and it just feels like you can't even throw a strike without somebody barreling something hard somewhere on the baseball field, just trying to get back ahead, and these guys are ready to hit. The momentum on the offensive side is real, and now it has flipped from the Orioles to the Mariners side.
It's absolutely contagious right now, and it feels like he's not fooling anybody right now.
Josh Naylor goes after the first pitch, shallow left field. Ward dances in to get it. Orioles send 9 to the plate in the third, score 6. Mariners send 9 to the plate in the fourth, score 4. So much for that pitcher's duel. 6-5 in the fourth. Make your favorite players all-stars. Scan the QR code to cast your 2026 Konami eBaseball MLB All-Star Ballot daily, or visit MLB.com/vote. Pretty good options here. Some multi-time All-Stars: Rutschman, Rodriguez, Alonso, all of whom have driven in runs tonight in this sudden slugfest. 1-0 into the bottom of the third has turned into 6-5 Baltimore in the last of a 4-game series. Kevin Brown, David Ross, Adam Ottavino up here in the booth. Buster Olney downstairs, our wonderful ESPN crew. Mariners looking for a series win in this season high 10-game road trip. O's looking for a split after dropping the first 2. Colt Cowser, who led off the third with a home run, starts the fourth with a 1-1 count. Perfect 2 innings for Brian Wu, then the worst inning of his career in the third. 6 runs, 5 hits, 25 pitches, a walk in there as well. The 1-2 count to get ahead of Cowser. Wu in his last 7 starts, 3 of those starts, has not allowed a run. The other 4 have not been great, so it's been a year of real peaks and valleys for him. This is the 5th time he's allowed 4 runs or more in a single start. Got to play to Cowser, still 1-2. Remember, Seattle is a team with a short bullpen. They've only got 7 in the pen. They're working with a 6-man rotation right now. They have 6 great starters, and they're all healthy. They were piggybacking Bryce Miller and Luis Castillo for a few starts recently, but have opted to go to the 6-man. So they need a little more length out of their starters than most.
You read my mind, KB. I was just thinking, like, he's got to get his pitches in. When you have a 6-man rotation, you're 1 short down there. There's a lot, as the manager, you just want to, you got to sit back and, you know, you can't run through those guys like you would certain days when a guy doesn't have their best stuff.
You know, and if you're Brian Wu, I mean, I know you're sick to your stomach a little bit right now. You just had a 6-run inning, worst inning of your career. It's not a good feeling. You're a human being, but at the same time, this game is still in the balance here. He comes out and throws up a 0. He can really contribute towards a win. So you got to find a way to get your mind right and make pitches.
Yep. 3-2 here for Cowser. The good news for the Mariner bullpen, though they've thrown a lot of late. Yesterday, the only reliever who threw was Domingo Gonzalez, and he was DFA'd. So they're as fresh as they can be with a 7-man pen right now. But that 6-run third is hurting. 8th pitch coming to Cowser. And it is punched towards shallow left, and Mastroboni. To the studio we go. Kevin Connors take it away. Pirates-Dodgers series been a little bit nutty. KC, we saw old Robert Shohei Ohtani home run. Big Pittsburgh comeback win yesterday. Pirates in the thick of things in the National League, though they did just put O'Neal Cruz on the IL. Kobe Mayo, a hard line out his first time. Swing and a miss. Good slider for Wu there.
Looks like Brian Wu's moved away from the fastball a little bit in this inning. He's gone much more off speed. Seems to be aware that the Orioles are hunting that fastball, and he's trying to flip the script here.
We were talking about the momentum early, but you're trying to just get ahead, and you know they're jumping the heater, and you don't even have time to get to your secondary stuff.
Yeah, and to be fair, most people don't hit his heater, so he's confident throwing it, and sometimes you don't make the adjustment until it's a little bit too late.
Great point.
Mayo drills one to left and foul. Went to the slider again.
Mayo's used to it. I think he sees the most breaking balls in the major leagues at the plate, so slider, nothing new to Mayo.
And that percentage only going up in this sequence. See if Wu makes it a 4th straight slider to the young Kobe Mayo. Went fastball 97.
I was about to say, I don't know if I'd throw another one after he just missed that one. Probably that high riding heater. He probably would have liked that one a little bit higher.
Mayo only at 193, but great pull side power. 9 home runs on the year. 9 of his 33 hits homers. And this ball's hammered to the pull side. Got another slider. A little bit too juicy for Brian Wu's liking as Kobe Mayo has the Orioles 6th in.
Really nice at bat here from Mayo. Fouling off some tough pitches, down in there with that slider. Like you guys said, he's seen a few of those. Nice piece of hitting. I'm sitting here watching. I don't even know what to call right now.
There's a fastball away.
Feels like the location hadn't quite been like it was in the first 2 innings. I don't know whether maybe some of the heat's getting to some of these guys. It looks hot down there. Just things, maybe a little wet grip or what, but these hitters are locked in on both these guys.
Jackson Holiday over to first. Naylor gets 1, and the return throw in time for 2 on the speedy Holiday. Whatever Morita called there was the right one. Fastball against a double play and a shutdown 4th for Brian Wu. Mariners after a 4 spot in the 4th will try to take the lead in the 5th. The ultimate goal of an MLB fan, seeing it all. The MLB Journey to 30 sweepstakes presented by T-Mobile is the ultimate bucket list. Enter now for your chance to win trips to all 30 ballparks. MLB.com/Journey to 30. Orioles go to the bullpen here, up 6-5 in the 5th inning, and Tyler Wells takes over after Kyle Bradish allowed 4 in the 4th. Former starter and Rule 5 pick Wells, after Bradish goes just 4 innings for a 2nd consecutive start. And folks, you may probably notice it's gotten a little bit windy here.
Boy, you could feel the front blow in the field during that half inning.
It cooled off.
You guys send down an umbrella, please.
Buster, if we send an umbrella, you might float away like Mary Poppins, I think.
That's true.
There are a couple of pieces of trash on the field right now that have gusted in as Wells works to Randy Arozarena. That's the sort of thing that means around these parts there's a storm brewing. Where it is and will it get here? Those are the open questions. The weather has shifted dramatically in the 6-5 game as Wells gets Arozarena to swing and miss and a slider right into the bullpen. A 3-pitch strikeout of the Mariner All-Star.
Well, this is exactly what Tyler Wells does. He's coming right at you with those 4-seamers, and then you got to commit to it. Not even a great breaking ball, but just gets the swing and miss from here from Arozarena. Coming at you with that 4-seam fastball, just backs up a little bit on the slider. He's coming at you. Sorry.
No, that's all right. Walking 2 strikeouts. What do you guys make of Kyle Bradish tonight? The supercharged velocity, the great stuff he had early, and then the way it sort of unraveled for him in the 4th.
Felt like to me the breaking ball, just they were all over it. You know, some of the damage was done on that secondary stuff. This ought to be interesting. Look at
Way up in the sky, the wind blowing it back to the right field wall off the bat of Rayleigh. And Leody Taveras took it away from him up against the fence. Gets a hat tip from Tyler Wells on a ball that looked like a pop-up and nearly ended up on the wall.
Just drifting here. Rayleigh's got some crazy power, but you see the wind just keep carrying this carry, and a nice play by Taveras right there. Really nice play up against that wall with that wind.
And only his third start of the year in right, Leody Taveras, typically the Orioles center fielder. And Colton Cowser flip-flopped of late. Top can zone out in front of a changeup for strike one. Can zone homered in back of Rayleigh in that 4-run Mariners fourth. Into center field off the end of the bat. Here's Cowser, and that's the shutdown inning that the Orioles had been looking for. A 7-pitch fifth for Tyler Wells. Top of the Orioles order when we return. Back to Baltimore, where a couple of players in the field tonight have been tasked with that face of the franchise label early in their careers. Julio Rodriguez and Adley Rutschman debuted a month and a half from each other in 2022. Were 1-2 in Rookie of the Year that season. The Mariners to the postseason. The Orioles snapping a dreadful 3-year run by finishing over 500. They've each been to the playoffs twice and snapped divisional droughts, winning the West and the East in 25 and 23 respectively. And they both made multiple all-star games. Rutschman due up third for Baltimore in this inning. It's a lot to ask when you have the pressure of a #1 pick like Adley Rutschman does, or the pressure that Julio Rodriguez did, making his big league debut out of the Dominican Republic at age 21. But they're two guys, Ross, and I know you've been around a lot of stars and young stars who've handled this potential spotlight and the pitfalls so well in their careers.
Oh, for sure. And these guys get thrust into, you know, teams or guys with kids, and you're just coming out of, you know, you would be in college at the time, and the maturity of a lot of these players, even talking to about some of the guys on the Seattle team, like the Colt Emersons, like the Cole Youngs, these guys are just mature beyond their years. And both managers have talked about, they think the clubhouse also has really impacted the group as a whole in embracing those young guys so they can feel comfortable. I think that's really important. Something that when I was coming up, I don't know that we had as much of that.
No, there was a lot of comfort being gatekept, I would say, by the older guys. You know, hey, don't relax here for a few years, if you wouldn't mind.
You had no say till you got like 3 years in.
2-2 for Taylor Ward here from Brian Wu.
Oh.
And Ward takes it down and in to run the count full. Two guys, Rutschman in particular, who grew up as young players in younger clubhouses. Obviously, the Orioles built a lot of this team with a young homegrown core. They've tried to supplement the last few years. Ward dribbles a 3-2 out of play.
I do feel like young players, more than ever, are coming up, you know, prepared and ready to deal with the challenges of the big leagues. Not only the skill side of things with the way the training has progressed, but also the mental side. You know, the blueprint is out there. There's, you know, tons of people to learn from, and these guys come up having absorbed all of that, and they bring it right into their game as young players.
3-2 is inside to Ward. He's on with the Orioles' second walk. When you say the blueprint's out there for younger players, what's different from a mental standpoint from, say, when you were coming up as a younger player to somebody who's a rookie now?
I think a couple things. Number one, like the lack of access of information back then. You know, it was the beginnings of the internet. I mean, I'm not too old, but at the same time, you know, you're starved for information, and there just wasn't a lot of it out there. Also, the mental health component, you know, not something that was spoken about in our generation, but it's been embraced now. I think veteran players around the game certainly understand the impact that a young guy can have, and they want to bring that into their clubhouse. You know, they're thinking about how that young guy can help the team that they're on, and you know, maybe the careers aren't as long now and your window isn't as big, and you got to try to take advantage while you can. So, you know, there's only one way to do that, and that's to embrace who's there right now and to roll with it.
Well, here's Adley Rutschman, the aforementioned #1 pick, the second #1 overall pick in Orioles history. 30 years after Ben McDonald out of LSU was the first, and Rutschman picked by the Orioles in this stretch of 100-loss seasons, 3 straight full years. They shortened 2020 COVID season in there. Pretty much everything changed the moment he came up in 22. And the Orioles were flying high, 101 wins in 23, 24 were one of the best teams in baseball until around the All-Star break. And they have fallen on much harder times since then. Well out of the playoffs last season, were really never in competition. Trying to get back in the mix this year. And Adley is helping them get there. Strokes the ball through the left side. Ward around third will come in to score. It's a 2-hit, 3 RBI night for Adley Rutschman, and it's 7-5.
It always just looks a little bit sexier when the lefties go the other way, right? And this is just a good piece of hitting here by Adley Rutschman. Balls away from him, doesn't try to do too much, doesn't try to roll over that pitch, just stays up the middle, throws his hands at it, just backs the ball up a little bit. Nice clean swing for another RBI.
Got a 2-run double in the third, and now Pete Alonso, who homered on a first pitch sweeper for Lou in the third. Technically, there was a hit by pitch to start the inning on Ward, not a walk on a 3-2. Then the Henderson ground out and the Rutschman RBI single. And Brian Wu, in the midst of one of his toughest career starts, trying to just stop some outs and innings for this 7-man bullpen. 7 runs allowed. Pitcher had a 2.94 ERA last year.
Hey guys, Brian Wu had a very different path to stardom than Adley Rutschman. You mentioned a 1-1 overall pick for Adley Rutschman. Well, Brian Wu in college threw just 69 to third innings at Cal Poly, had a 6.36 ERA. But as the Mariners prepared for their draft in 2001, they talked about Wu, and specifically they talked about his delivery. And what Trent Blank, who's a director of pitching strategy, told the draft room was, look, this guy has such a clean delivery. I would be comfortable taking him 1-1 overall. They wound up taking him in the 6th round. He threw just 115 innings in the minor leagues, and now he's here in the big leagues, thriving.
Thriving right there as he strikes out Alonso for the 2nd out of the inning. It's a pretty amazing journey, Buster. We looked at the Mariners rotation early. 1st round pick, 1st round pick, 1st round pick. Here's a 6th rounder out of Cal Poly who very much has the 1st round stuff.
There's that 4-seam fastball you talked about earlier, Otto. Just nice and clean delivery, easy, and just let that backside come through. That was the true ride at 4-seamer. Like that one.
We really live in such a different time in player development and scouting. You know, you can look at a guy with only 60 innings in college and not great results, and you can be fairly confident that you can go ahead and throw some skills and some different attributes onto that guy. I mean, that would have never happened in our era, Rossi, but no, that's a fantastic job by the Mariners.
Who gets out of the inning with a ground out against Basayo. But a big night for Adley Rutschman in his return to the lineup. He's knocked in 3 as the O's lead by 2. ESPN Baseball presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Into the 6th inning, and some raindrops very lightly beginning to fall here at Oriole Park. Oh, that was not light. A thunderous rumble in the distance. In fact, there is some lightning in the area, which has locked off some of our cameras. And members of the grounds crew during that half-inning break scurried to get behind the tarp. So we play on for now with a 7-5 Oriole lead. It is the Mid-Atlantic. These storms pop up here and there, and maybe this one will bypass, or maybe it'll be on us in 5 seconds. An extra bit of tension in this tight series finale as Tyler Wells dumps in a breaking ball. 1-1 for Miles Mastrobuoni.
It always feels a little old school when you see like the rappers on the field blowing around, doesn't it? Especially here in this beautiful ballpark.
Yeah, the field has, I think, double the amount of rappers as players right now. Inundated by the discards of somebody's chicken tender basket.
Yeah.
Slice of pizza, died to lose that one. Tyler Wells, the 7-pitch sixth, and half-hearted hack by Mastrobuoni on a cutter. Wells looks terrific out of the Baltimore bullpen.
It's a great job by Tyler Wells coming in after Bradish, who's struggling a little bit towards the end of his outing. He comes right in, restores order here, going 3 up, 3 down in the 5th, and then striking Mastrobuoni out here to start off the 6th. His cutter stays up nice.
How do you avoid out of the pressure a reliever could face coming in right on the back of a tough outing for a starting pitcher, coming in against an offense that's been red hot during the game?
You got to put it out of your mind. You got to tell yourself it's not related and it's not going to carry over no matter what, and you're a different pitcher. And you know the future's still yet to be decided. You know, just because they're hot, that doesn't mean it'll continue. So you take note of it. You try to see if there's any early signs, you know, in your own outing, but you got to go in there confident and attack the strike zone no matter what.
How closely are you watching in the bullpen? Because we hear a lot about bullpen conversations and sometimes inane bullpen chatter. Does that change when things start to tighten up and you realize my number might be called soon?
Yeah, I mean, I probably watched a little bit more than most. You know, I usually was huddled around the iPad trying to see what was working and what wasn't working.
You don't strike me as a man who likes theater of the inane quite as much.
But, you know, I do always think about, you know, a lesson that taught to me by actually Wade Davis, the great relief pitcher of the Royals, Cubs, Rockies, and he told me that he tried to pretend that he didn't know the score. You know, he wanted to come in the same way every time and create his own narrative in his mind. He didn't want to be influenced by the way the game had been going, any type of vibe in the stadium. And, you know, that really worked for him, and there's times where I utilize that as well.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Wells here.
I have not heard that. I love that. Love that mentality.
I mean, of course, you have to know game situation, you know, for certain strategy moments, but at the same time, like, he's right. You got to attack the way you want to attack every single time. You can't be too influenced by, you know, anything that can creep into that psyche.
Five up, 5 down for Wells. Here's Colt Emerson. Takes a curveball strike. I'm told we have video of you looking at the iPad actually and sorting it out during a game. Let's see what we got here. Oh no!
Yeah, unfortunately.
Bad iPad.
Unfortunately, this was caught on camera, so that came with a $1,000 fine.
$1,000 fine?
Oh, I had to replace the iPad, so it's fine. I got another one now.
It literally was fine.
Everything's fine.
I was very frustrated there. I threw some good pitches that inning that did not work out, and I didn't like it.
And you blame the machines.
Yeah, I mean, certainly not my fault.
Emerson on the infield. Henderson is there, and Tyler Wells comes into a 1-run game, probably leave in a 2-run game. Perfect through the 5th and 6th innings as the Orioles maintain their lead. The Men's College World Series kicks off this weekend. Friday, it's the Cinderella Troy Trojans against 16-seeded West Virginia, 2 Eastern. Then Ole Miss against number 5 North Carolina, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN. Catch them both live or stream anytime on the ESPN app. Off to Omaha. I know you must love.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
First pitch, bottom 6. Leody Taveras Up into that windy sky to right, and Luke Raley reels it in. So the new Mariner reliever Alex Hoppe gets a long flyout on his first pitch of the game.
Yeah, I feel like it's a fun time of year. This and Little League World Series, two of my favorite times of year. Or just baseball on TV 24/7, day and night.
Just finished the Women's College World Series. Texas won that back-to-back, and the Longhorns baseball team are in Omaha trying to win the Men's World Series. Historic program.
Schlossnagle getting them back on track, going from Texas A&M over to Texas.
Hard not to notice all the home runs in the Super Regionals. You know, we might have some games like we have tonight in the College World Series this year with a lot of home runs.
Yeah, for college baseball, I think this would be a pitcher's duel right now. 7-5 in the 6th inning. A lot of ping over the last couple of weekends. 2 strikes on Cowser from the Mariners rookie Hoppe here.
Yeah, I was pretty locked in on that Georgia-Mississippi State Super Regional, and that was just back and forth offense. I mean, that was really something. I was wondering, what are the balls? What are the bats? What do we got going on these days?
You're like, thank goodness I didn't pitch in the SEC in 2026. As Hoppe strikes out Cowser. We do have we're talking about the Men's World Series. 2-time World Series participant?
2-time College World Series.
2 different schools?
2 different schools, yeah. I told you it's a 2-year deal and I'm out. I mean, that started in college. Yeah,
Way
Auburn.
Before the transfer portal, you were in the portal.
Auburn was good to me and gave me a full release after I played. The other catcher got hurt. I was the backup, and then they gave me a full release. I went to Florida my 2nd year and went back. But I love the College World Series. Omaha, they do such a good job of putting on a great show there. ESPN covers it. It's just a really cool event.
The pageantry of these college towns too, when you lead up to Omaha, and the passion of these fan bases is so special. Like West Virginia is a school with very little baseball history. They get a national seed this year. UCLA is the #1 overall. They get knocked out. West Virginia hosts Cal Poly, and if folks have seen the videos of the fans singing Country Roads in Morgantown, it gives you goosebumps. It genuinely gives you goosebumps. So that's a very special story. And they're going up against Troy, a Troy team that beat one of your teams, the Gators, in the first round as an unseeded team, and has made it to Omaha. So a couple of great stories colliding to kick off the World Series this weekend.
And I live in Tallahassee, Florida, and they had the regional come through there. Really good baseball school, and they've had a lot of success under a former high school teammate of mine, Link Jarrett. I just love, my best friend's a pitching coach at Alabama, so I'm like just following these guys all around and watching this. It's a good time of year.
Mayo will take his time out here. 2-2. Orioles a 7-5 lead in a game that tied Brian Wu's career high, 7 runs allowed. 4th time Wu's allowed 7 runs in a game. 3rd time 7 earned runs. And Hoppe with a breaking ball low to run it full to Kobe Mayo. Mariner bullpen 5th in the majors, 3.33 ERA. They're down a couple of their better relievers. Matt Brash, their key setup man's out with a lat strain. Dan Wilson told us it'll be a few weeks before he can really ramp up activity again. As Mayo is frozen by 97 at the knees. So through the misting rain, a 1-2-3-6 for Alex Hoppe. A close game and some interesting weather situation here in Baltimore. Homer, happy night, Sharp City. First batter of the game. Cole Young's first career leadoff homer, the 3rd youngest Mariner ever with a leadoff homer, and then the 6-run 3rd for the Orioles. Colton Cowser to the opposite field started it. Pete Alonso ended it with a 439-foot bomb. But the Mariners went back-to-back for the first time this year. Luke Raley and Dom Canzone to make it 6-5. We stand at 7-5 as we head into the 7th inning. The last of a 4-game series. The Mariners took the first 2 games. The Orioles a blowout win with some late rallies yesterday. And Tyler Wells still out there. His season-high 2 innings. His season-high pitches is 38, though he was only at 19 pitches in 2 perfect innings. And He's trying to get out Cole Young, who was 3 for 3 against Bradish. Wells, of course, was a starting pitcher. Came up as a minor league starter, Rule 5 pick. Orioles had him as a reliever, moved into the rotation, now back to the bullpen this year. And he strikes out Young. That changeup has been tremendous for Wells tonight.
1, 2, 3. USA getting set here. He shoots!
All customers can win up to $25 if USA has one shot versus Paraguay.
7 up, 7 down, 4 strikeouts for Wells, and a swing and a miss and a cutter to Julio Rodriguez. Otto, it's not a high octane mix that Wells has, but the pitch mix is deep. What do you like about what you've seen from him tonight?
I love his changeup. To me, that's his plus pitch, but he's mixing it up great right now. Not leaning on any one thing, sticking and moving. I thought a little bit of what the starters got in trouble with was predictability tonight, and Tyler Wells is doing a great job of avoiding that, mixing it up. They have no idea what's coming. And look at the count, 0-2. He's been 0-1, 0-2 on a ton of hitters, and it's not rocket science, but that really works on the mound.
Starters you're talking about who are predictable: Kyle Bradish and Brian Wu, who is alone in the rain right now. Little puddle next to him on the dugout bench.
Ball.
I've been there. He's hoping for a nice cleansing from that rain right there. Wash it off. Wash it off.
Here's our first challenge of the game, ABS powered by T-Mobile. Samuel Basayo was hoping this was a strike, but actually got close.
I think Wells talked him into that a little bit. Wells was walking off as well as Basayo caught it, and it was a little late tap. Yeah, I thought he was trying to be friends with the pitcher, help him out.
Pitchers who basically never challenge anymore, challenged infrequently early, and you could go weeks on weeks without seeing a pitcher challenge now. Pretty much down to the catchers defensively. Would you have
as it should be, as it should be.
No, Rossi's right. I was just about to say, we can't be trusted out there. We want everything, and these catchers make it look so good that honestly our judgment's impaired. So you can't look out there and worry about what the pitcher thinks. Trust yourself, Basayo.
Now the Orioles have had the fewest catcher challenges in baseball this year between Basayo, Rutschman, and a little bit of Sam Huff. That's one that should not have been challenged, so they're down to 1 as Rodriguez takes his time on 3-2. Julio singled, walked, and then singled in a run against Kyle Bradish. Had been 1 for 12 with a walk in the series. A big game at the plate in the finale. Here's another 3-2 from Wells. Into center field, well struck. Cowser will get there though. And another out for Wells. That's 8 up and 8 down out of the Baltimore bullpen.
I love the pause right there from Wells. 3-2. He's coming at you almost all 3 innings, and he just holds that ball just for a couple seconds longer. Kind of gets that rhythm off for Julio. And you see here, just hold. You're in your thoughts, you get a little big, executes the pitch, slows things down a little bit. That's kind of an underrated skill I learned later in my career, just to mix some things up. Slide step in 3-2, just some weird stuff that you can pick up as you've been around.
Great comment there, Rossi. I mean, there's so many layers to pitching. It's not all 98 spin rate and induced vertical break and all these things. Sometimes it is pitch with pace and then switch up that pace. Now all of a sudden you're a little slower, batter gets those lead feet in the box, gets a little antsy, and you can get a swing that you're looking for.
When did you really get dialed in on that in your career? When did you really feel like you learned that?
I guess I'm thinking I started coming up with a system like 2014, 2015, some rules of thumb. Like if I'm gonna double up the same pitch in the same location back to back, I should probably change my timing. Something's got to be different. These hitters are so good at pattern recognition, They've seen something once, they can hit it the second time. So rather than always have to throw a different pitch every time, sometimes I've changed up my delivery. Slower leg kick, faster leg kick, hold the ball, throw quicker, anything like that.
A little bit of a longer hold here, and Naylor fouls a 1-2 fastball away.
I love learning the 3-2 count where you've got a reliever and a guy, he already starts in the stretch, and you've got a guy that's fouling off a lot of pitches 3-2, so we would do a slide step 3-2 and just throw off their whole rhythm. One of my pitching coaches taught me that a long time, kind of midway through my career. It's like I used that probably 4 or 5 times and it worked.
1-2.
You know, and another thing you can loop in here with the pitch clock. You know, if the batter burns their timeout early in the at-bat, now they have to address you at 9-10 seconds, and you can really ice them. You can freeze them out, count it all the way down to 1 or 2, and to really drive that point home and then deliver the pitch.
Wells throws it with 3 here. Naylor is putting a tough at-bat together. He'll see a 7th pitch from Tyler Wells.
Ooh, that's right in his happy zone. Oh, he's so pissed he missed that one.
The thing about Josh is he'll show you how he feels, or he'll tell you. A little bit low, and Naylor has run it full. Randy Arozarena represents the tying run on deck. Rico Garcia is back up in the Orioles bullpen as Wells tries to finish off 3 perfect innings in relief. His 3-2. Inside for ball 4. He may have been mad that he didn't hit the changeup, but Naylor gets on. Craig Albertez has a decision to make here with Randy Arozarena coming to the plate.
Looks like he's going to give him one more. 36 pitches for Wells in 2 2/3.
Went fastball, fastball, slider to strike out Arozarena in the 5th. And a cutter to start him here.
And you said his season high was what, 31? Is that what you
38.
38, yeah.
So he's right at it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking. There probably was 31 in the outing, but then it was 32 and 33 and kept tracking. Down to third, Mayo. Craig Albertez leaves in Tyler Wells and reaps the benefits. Wells' best outing of the season. 3 scoreless, 1 walk, keeps the Oriole lead. ESPN Baseball is presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Knock savings out of the park with Liberty Mutual. 5 balls knocked out of the park tonight, the longest and loudest. From the first-year Oriole, Pete Alonso. Played in all 70 games with Baltimore after signing a 5-year deal. It's a big 3rd inning for the Orioles, a big 4th inning for the Mariners. But the O's have a 7-5 lead as we hit the home 7th. Orioles with a win would get to 33 and 37. 2.5 games back early of the 3rd wild card. Mariners 36 and 33, 2 up in the West. Seattle will head to Washington, D.C. after the game. Weekend series with the Nats. The Orioles will welcome in the San Diego Padres. And then these teams will have the reverse fixtures next week. 3-game series starting Tuesday in Seattle. Alex Hoppe back out after a perfect 6th inning to face Jackson Holliday, Taylor Ward, and Gunnar Henderson. Ryan Wu, the Mariners starter, allowed all 7 runs, all earned in 5 innings, tying a career-high runs and earned runs allowed. Hoppe with a strike to Holliday, 1 and 2. Orioles lead the league in hard hit rate. That's anything 95 miles per hour or up, which is right around the marker where batting average and slugging really start to increase. In that 3rd inning, a whole bunch of hard hit balls as Holliday takes a very close fastball.
Got to the challenge and they call a ball.
Close enough for Johnny Pareda to use the Mariners' first challenge of the night. We'll all watch the scoreboard as it's inside.
Toss confirmed. Seattle has 1 more challenge remaining.
By a sliver. by 0.2 of an inch. It is 2-2, and the Mariners drop their first of 2 challenges. And a bouncing ball toward the middle on the next pitch. Young floats one just in time to get Holiday. All those hard hits in the 3rd inning. It started with Colt Kazner going the other way.
Yeah, really nice piece of hitting here. But we've talked about these pitchers and the matchups. These guys were staying inside. It was we're gonna big part of the field. You heard both managers talk about it. Great at bat there by Gunnar, and then a leverage count there by Rutschman. Big home run, Alonso, and next thing you know, there's 6 runs on the board. It happened really, really fast by really good approaches. Guys getting on ahead of them, some good at bats, and then some quick power.
It's an Oriole team 8th in the majors in runs scored per game, 8th best OPS with runners in scoring position. They had really struggled in their 4-game losing streak. They're 4 for 31 with runners in scoring position, but had 4 hits last night. They had a couple of big ones in the 3rd inning this evening.
That hitting with runners in scoring position just fluctuates so much throughout the season.
It's one of those topics that drives fans crazy, and everybody looks at runner scoring position when you're not going well. I know the team's playing well. People ignore runners in scoring position.
Nobody looks at it. Right. Exactly. Well, you know, when I was managing, they asked me these questions. Why can't we hit with runner scoring position? For that, but I don't have an answer.
4-pitch walk for Ward, and the Orioles get a 7th inning base runner. Score big on authentic gear at MLBshop.com. From official jerseys and memorabilia to hats and hoodies, we've got the season covered. Scan the QR code or visit MLBshop.com, the official source for your favorite team gear. For Henderson out of play. Adam, is runners in scoring position something you would look at when evaluating how to attack a certain hitter?
I think, you know, I would watch them with guys in scoring position, and what I'm looking for is more it's character traits. It's, does this guy want to be the hero or not, you know, or is he willing to stay in his approach that he has all the time? If he's consistent throughout, that's actually a really good quality to have, runners in scoring position, because you're not gonna give in to any of my offerings that I'm like, my bait that I'm throwing out there. Hey, I'm gonna throw you a lousy pitch, maybe you'll swing at it. If I see a guy who wants to be the hero, odds are I'm going to do that, and he's going to go ahead and chase it. So I'll be looking at the character traits more so than anything else, because to your point earlier, I don't think the numbers are very sticky. I don't think that it's something you can look at and necessarily gain a lot of predictive information from.
Well, I think a lot of the traits that catchers pick up on throughout the season, when you go, or throughout the game, when you go through a scouting report saying, hey, this guy's aggressive early in the count. Well, if he's taken the first 2 at bats and all of a sudden there's a guy at second base, you can almost bank he's swinging. You know, like they're natural traits.
Mastroboni sliding, came up with a ball right in front of the Seattle dugout. We saw him try to do that down the left field line earlier, and a nice play by Miles Mastroboni here results in the 2nd out.
Really nice play. Mastroboni reads this well, and he's coming over. I think he just feels the catcher and the dugout. Slides a little bit early, but makes a really nice catch there with some traffic. Just hangs on to that. Almost an ice cream scoop. A little snow cone.
He's gone to that sliding technique twice today, and kids at home, that's a great technique when you're near a wall. You know, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get hurt. You're going to be able to get real low under that ball and give yourself a great chance. So mix that in when you're throwing the ball around the yard a little bit. A couple sliding catches.
1-1 to Rutschman. By the way, here in Baltimore, they might call that a snowball.
Snowball, okay.
One of the local delicacies.
Okay.
You got to try a snowball next time you're here, and don't get in at 5 in the morning.
Don't tempt me with a good time. I'm down for anything edible.
Yeah, the dirt 2-1 to Adley Rutschman. Big day for Rutschman. A 2-run double in that 6-run 3rd, and has driven in the Orioles' only other run of the game, an RBI single in the 5th. Went through some pregame running and some progression yesterday. Was not in the lineup. His pregame progression was cut short because of rain yesterday, but back in there today after some left hamstring tightness. Knocked him out of the last 3 games. And the Orioles will do this often. They will DH Rutschman and catch Messiah, or vice versa. They think there is plenty of room and plenty of at-bats to go around, and they hope it'll keep those 2 catchers relatively fresh down the stretch. So both have been dealing with a couple of injuries this year.
Oh no.
That's a little high, and Rutschman's out for the 3rd straight time. 2 walks in the inning against Hoppy. Well, Dan Wilson's going to make a pitching change here, and he'll call on the right-hander Nick Davila. 2 on, 2 out, and a 2-run game. Alonso, first pitch swing against the new Mariner right-hander Nick Davila, who was summoned AAA 2 days ago and ended up collecting his first career save in the 10th inning of the Mariners' 6-5 win. Still no earned runs allowed despite a lot of walks early. Alonso rips one to third. Grabbed by Mastroboni, who has a nice defensive inning. Keeps this a 2-run game as we head to the 8th. Raley and Canzone, home run hitters coming up. Maybe the best moment ever for a Mariner at Camden Yards. Not in a game. 93 home run derby. Only 1 guy's hit the warehouse on the fly. It wasn't in a game. It was Ken Griffey Jr., the kid in the derby, July 1993. And that is the only Utah Street plaque on the warehouse. 465. And they're hoping that they'll get the All-Star game back here in Baltimore sometime in the next couple of years. Philly this year, Chicago after that. Brand new scoreboard, new sound system, a park that's primed to get an All-Star game return, and that would mean the home run derby with it. So maybe it'll happen in the next couple of years. Maybe the next home run derby, somebody will finally get to the warehouse again.
It's a nice sales pitch right there. You ran the gamut.
I didn't realize it was a nice sales pitch, but as it started happening, you're right. Unspooled something there. Never happened in a game. Luke Raley, Dom Canzone, a couple of batters who have homered today are on against Rico Garcia. Rico's had an astonishing year for the Orioles. Little bit of a slower stretch, and by that I mean 2 hits in June. A fly ball to left center field from Raley will be the first out of this inning as we go back to the studio and Kevin Connors. Kev? Alarm bells ringing when you hear about Shohei Ohtani and an injury, Kev. Hopefully nothing serious for LA's global superstar. Dave Roberts has given a few more days off this season. Garcia to Dominic Canzone. Foul back. It's a pretty amazing mix out when you look at Rico Garcia, a guy who's been DFA'd, who's been waived, who's been a minor league free agent, and now has this 4-pitch mix that has just befuddled hitters all year long.
Yeah, he's been awesome this year. I mean, the separation and speed and the way he sells it between the fastball and the changeup, he's really got that locked in, and he's attacking with much more confidence than he's ever had before. It's great to see a guy who's grinded this long, you know, finally get a really good opportunity and run with it here in Baltimore.
Was a 30th round pick of the Rockies from Hawaii Pacific back in 2016. And gets a lot of awkward swings on that changeup right there, which has one of the highest spin rates of any changeup in the league. Why does that matter on that particular pitch?
So there's a lot of different kind of changeups around the big leagues. His is the type where it actually has the exact same movement as his fastball, so it floats, and I think the hitter thinks that they're swinging at a fastball. Spin rate contributes to that because it's high. Most changeups have a lower spin rate, so that's one of the ways that hitters identify it on the way to the plate. It's just a difference in the spin, but since there is no difference in the spin, in this case, it's much harder to tell, and by the time they swing, they're typically way out front on that changeup.
Payoff pitch to Canzone. Chased it in the air to left. Ward on the run, makes a nice catch.
Nice play there by Ward. He ran that thing down. Felt like he had a beat on it from the jump. It's a really good jump here from left field. Canzone just protecting, hitting this ball to left. Slicing away from Ward, but just tracks it down. Made that look really easy. Tougher play than he made it look. And Garcia's fired up.
Couple of outs in the air to left, a fly out and a line out. And Miles Mastrobuoni attacks the first pitch.
That was one of those times the ball hits the bat, you look up, and he's already in full stride, full speed right away, so he got a great beat on that.
It's a tricky left field here at Camden Yards. The wall being moved back, then back in parts of late. Right center field for Mastrobuoni. That will drop. A little dying quail in front of Taveras. Miles Mastrobuoni, who had a diving catch in the bottom of the 7th, is on with a hit, and that'll bring Johnny Pareda to the plate, representing the tying run here in the 8th. These Mariners have just lingered and lingered after giving up that big 6-run 3rd inning. Pareda, a long time minor leaguer, hit a couple of home runs in 16 games this year. He's gotten on base at a very high rate. And he takes ball 1 from Garcia. Swing and a miss, 96 for a strike. Rico Garcia, who was warming up in the 4th, on here in the 8th. How difficult, Otto, is that to do?
I think that's one of the more underrated difficulties of being a relief pitcher, non-closer, of course. Especially in the modern game, you don't know when the big leverage moment's going to come, and sometimes the manager will go ahead and try to consider firing a big-time guy early in the game. You know, in this case, it was Rico. It didn't happen, but he did get some throwing in down there. Then he's got to kind of reset and do that again. You can do that occasionally. You just can't do that all the time. Those bullets still count, and they all add up. But, you know, at the same time, as a reliever, you have to find a way to block it out of your mind. And when you're in the game, just compete.
Uh-oh. The tarps are off here. Tarps off fever continues to infect the baseball nation. How much would it take to get you out with a tarps off crew at a game?
Oh man, just maybe one of those snow cones you're talking about. Wouldn't take me much. Nobody wants to see this boiler.
2-2 for Pareda. Ground ball through the right side, a base hit. The Mariners catchers have delivered time and again in the absence of the injured Cal Raleigh. Here comes Colt Emerson as the go-ahead run, and Craig Albernaz will go to his bullpen. A big-time at-bat by the number 9 hitter Pareda. It'll be the lefty Grant Wolfram in to face the 20-year-old Emerson, with the Mariner rookie looking for a signature early big league moment. Two on, two out. 2-run Oriole lead in the 8th. Grant Wolfram against a 20-year-old Colt Emerson. Ball 1 from Wolfram, who had a rocky outing yesterday. 2/3 of an inning, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, and you see that walk rate of 2%. Had his first unintentional walk of the season. And a big show of faith here, Ross. You got a lot of decisions to make. I know as a manager, leaving in a 20-year-old who's just 3 for 20 against lefties. This is a big decision for Dan Wilson, and he puts faith in his young star. And Emerson at a 2-1 count.
There's moments that you love as a manager when there's a development process going on within a game that you're trying to win. And this is one of these moments. You're in first place. You have a guy that's going to be competing with you for a while and a really big prospect that you're going to lean on. He needs these at-bats.
He is in a 3-1 count. They do have Rob Refsnyder, who historically has crushed lefties on the bench, though not the same this year.
Having a down year this year for sure, but always dangerous.
Victor Robles, the runner at first for Pareda, the 3-1. Emerson with a big swing and a foul ball to run the count full.
What do we, sinker here?
I think he's thrown all fastballs so far. I think he might go slider here.
Love that.
Go slider for Chase.
I love the guessing game in these moments. We got action on the bases. Big pitch.
Mastroboni and Robles will run on a 3-2. Went back to the fastball.
How he's feeling that.
Would you feel a level of risk here going slider after 6 straight heaters? Or is the risk worth taking in your mind?
I think it's a risk worth taking. I'm always on that side of things on 3-2 counts. They're running on the pitch anyway here.
Yep, base open.
On the ground to second base, 7 straight heaters, and Wolfram escapes a jam. He retires Emerson on a ground out. The Mariners strand the tying runs on base.
That's a good question. I love being in the action every play. I love being able to work with pitchers, be able to tailor game plans to, every single guy. Just with you're never seeing the same stuff. Each sinker's not the same, each cutter's not the same, and so being able to navigate a game and just like work in tandem with those guys and the coaching staff to be able to come up with a game plan, and for me that's a lot of fun.
That was before the game. David Ross with Adley Rutschman. Adley 2-run double, an RBI single, a walk today. Catcher to catcher, what do you like about your conversation with him?
We had such a good conversation. We talked a little bit about he switched with the right knee down. He used to be a left knee down guy, and we were talking a lot about just like how comfortable he's throwing the heck out of the ball this year. And he feels like it's like a lot because that right knee's down. He can really push off that back leg, and it already gets his shoulders and his hips turned to where he wants to go. He said it's felt really seamless, and he's kind of played. Here's a quick shot there where he switched it up this year, and he says he just really feels like it's helped him in his throwing and receiving.
Samuel Basayo catching the night out of play.
And also like just dealing with some of this is a whole new staff for him basically, and talking about the leadership qualities and guiding some of these new guys through lineups, and that, like I said at the end, that's kind of one of his favorite things, just that cat and mouse and the game planning and execution, because it's a different guy every night.
Basayo, who has dealt with a host of injuries this year, took that foul ball hard off his leg on 2-2.
That's the worst. Pitchers love it and hitters hate it. Adam right now is like, yes, serves you right. Don't be trying to get aggressive with me in there. Oh, you got a lot of pads, so that's good.
No, I did this a little bit when I was hitting in high school, and honestly, I'm glad I didn't have to deal with that anymore. That's awful. That feels terrible.
That was the moment you decided to become a pitcher full time.
Yeah, pretty much.
The next pitch, sky high fly to right. Gets under it, and Raley is there to make the catch. So Nick Davila gets it out here in the 8th inning. We talked about this Mariners and a really impressive pitching staff, 5th in the majors in ERA, but they're down a couple of relievers right now. Matt Brash is on the IL, and Buster, it feels like there's a big bullpen piece waiting in the wings for Seattle later in the year in their system.
And Kevin, that would be Cade Anderson, who was a 3rd pick in last year's draft out of LSU. He is dominating in Double-A.
Ball!
That's a foul bunt by Taveras for strike one.
And of course, last year in the postseason, when the Mariners were trying to advance past the Toronto Blue Jays, they had one left-handed reliever. Dan Wilson was essentially having to choose the one spot he could use Gabe Spire. Well, they traded for Ferreira in the offseason, and later this year at some point, Cade Anderson is going to be a big factor. I mentioned his numbers down in the minor leagues, a 1.29 ERA. He's faced 176 batters, guys, 76 strikeouts and 7 walks. Jeez. So he could be this year's David Price, Jabba Chamberlain, who has an impact late in the year.
Just a year removed from being drafted. I mean, that would be, as a manager, I'm sure, an embarrassment of riches. You'd love Jose Ferrer, Gabe Spire, and potentially Cade Anderson to match up with in the bullpen.
Yeah, it'd be nice. If I'd had those guys, I might not be sitting in the booth with you guys.
Have you had, either of you guys, a player who's made that kind of impact, a young pitcher who gets thrust into the bullpen late in the pennant race?
I'm trying to think.
I mean, a couple of good examples Buster gave there we've seen before. David Price, of course, went on to become a great starter.
Well, I suppose it's sort of a little different, but Garrett Whitlock with the Red Sox, was a Rule 5 pick, and he wasn't really in leverage for the first half of the season, but then he turned into our best relief pitcher second half of the year, and we really rode him hard. So it was a little different, but.
Pumped up by Taveras on 2-2. 4 balls in the air and 4 outs for Leody Taveras tonight.
I'm blanking on the name, but Kansas City had just drafted a lefty and then put him in the bullpen.
Oh, yes.
Finnegan, thank you. Nice. Good pull.
Brandon Finnegan, was it?
Yeah, I think he was a TCU guy.
I'll give you guys a couple more. Francisco Rodriguez.
Oh,
back
yeah.
in 2002. And way back, going to date myself, Fernando Valenzuela in 1980. Down the stretch for the Dodgers that year before winning the Cy Young Award the following season.
I faced K-Rod that year in AAA. Like halfway through the season, I'm like, that's the greatest pitcher I've ever faced in my life. I had 0 chance to get a hit, and he was starting for them.
Corbin Burns is another one. Brewers, 2018, pitched out of the pen for them down the stretch.
Brandon Finnegan, I'm told by a reliable source, is the first pitcher to throw in the College World Series at TCU and the Major League World Series in the same year.
Kansas City, that's right.
Cade Anderson,
a pretty good run.
Not doing that, but could be a year removed from that great season at LSU a year ago. 1-1 for Cowser with 2 down. Run for Colt Cowser tonight. In the Mariner ninth, it will be the top 3, Young, Rodriguez, and Naylor. Looks like Andrew Kittredge is going to get the save opportunity for the Orioles tonight. Their closer, Ryan Helsley, began a rehab stint today with AAA Norfolk and looked very good. He could return by the time the Orioles go to Seattle next week. Talked to Helsley earlier in the week. He's hoping he only needs maybe 2 relief outings in AAA. Today struck out 3. Fastball got to 99. But it's going to be Kittredge today. Down goes Cowser in a great outing for Davila. Mariner bullpen, 3 hitless and scoreless innings. The big bats for Seattle against Kittredge when we return. Next Sports Center here on ESPN. Update on the Stanley Cup final. Hurricanes and Golden Knights. Mexico winning the World Cup opener, and a busy day in the world of sports. Here in Baltimore, a 7-5 Oriole lead. Andrew Kittredge, drafted by the Mariners, Spokane, Washington born, is on to try to pick up his 22nd career save and his first since last September. Been a tough season for Kittredge, reunited with the Orioles. Face 1, 2, 3 in the Mariners order, and up at a strike to Cole Young. Oriole closer Ryan Helsley has been out since April 29th with right elbow inflammation. And Young with a ground ball to second, scooped up by Holiday, who gets the first out. Tarps off section, not quite what it is in St. Louis, but growing down the line in right field here in Baltimore. waving their Birdland Hawaiian shirts and whatever else.
They're feeling good out there.
They're happy the rain has passed us by. Thankfully, the actual tarp stayed off today. Grounds crew was huddled behind it for about an inning. A 6-run third, the big inning of the game right now. Orioles took a 6-1 lead. Mariners answered back with 4 in the 4th. Julio Rodriguez had an RBI single, but they have not scored since. That skips away for the new third baseman, Blaze Alexander. And Rodriguez will turn it into 2. The defensive replacement playing on his 27th birthday, Blaze Alexander, could not pick that ground ball. And Josh Naylor will have a chance to tie it in the 9th.
Just here, looked like he didn't get set quick enough. Just gets over there and just got to that short hop. Being out of the game there, just not down there with it. Just, I don't know, relaxed a little bit right before it comes, but just really kind of played into that short hop and misjudged it.
So an E5 on the defensive replacement, and here is Naylor. First pitch swinging a ground ball over the mound. Henderson on to first, and the Orioles are an out away. It'll be an out they need to get against Randy Arozarena, longtime Tampa Bay teammate of Andrew Kittredge, who had the game-winning home run in the 10th inning on Tuesday night. First pitch from Kittredge. On the ground to short. Henderson there again. And buoyed by a 6-run third, the Orioles come back to get a series split against Seattle. A 7-5 Baltimore win as Kittredge works around an error in the 9th inning. One big inning, 6 runs in the 3rd, and shouldn't be lost in the shuffle out of one big relief outing by Tyler Wells, who covered 3 perfect innings.
Yeah, Tyler Wells, pitcher of the game tonight for sure. Came in, settled things down, restored order, pitched beyond his normal limit this year, and really put the Orioles in winning position. They were able to lock it down. Great job by the Orioles today.
Might be good luck for Adley Rutschman. The interview with me, a great game and all the RBIs. I'm going to give myself the player of the game. Can we do that?
Sure.
We allowed to do that?
Yeah,
okay. All right.
Congratulations, David Ross, who had nothing to do with this game, player of the game. Hey, Pete Alonso, who had a lot to do with this game, hit a monstrous home run as big as an Oriole, is going to join SportsCenter very shortly. Orioles win this game 7-5, and the Polar Bear in his first Orioles season will be on SportsCenter coming right up.